everyone, and welcome to the Opposition Preview with Henry. The Liverpool fan looking ahead to tomorrow's game at Anfield. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Yeah, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not looking forward to tomorrow, to be honest with you, but we'll see if you are. But before we do, can you just give us your thoughts on how your season's gone so far with Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it couldn't really be going better if we're being honest. The talk of this quadruple is kind of intensifying by the week at the moment, and we just seem to have clicked into sort of a really kind of unstoppable run of form, which we sort of had when we won the league. When I think obviously everything that happened last season with the injuries we had and no fans, I think quite a few people maybe thought had this team peaked. And maybe I did as well. In the early months of this season, we weren't firing on all cylinders, and Chelsea looked strong, and obviously City are up there. But I think the signing of Diaz in January has sort of given us an extra sort of gear, and we've got key players fit, which I think is the key for every team, really. And the more you win, the more confident you get. So, you know, I can't complain at the moment. Across 4 competitions, we're thriving, and I think the League Cup win last weekend will only sort of help in terms of improving that winning mentality. So, yeah, you can't complain, and potentially going to be a very special season come May.
Yeah, I was one of those that thought you peaked as well. I thought the last couple of seasons, I thought you can't go on and replicate that again. You just can't. And some of your players are sort of entering their late 20s as well. I thought, oh, what are you going to do? But you've impressed me this season. You've won the Carabao Cup last weekend. Does that sort of take the pressure off you a little bit? Because you can't now go trophyless, can you? Or does it sort of put the pressure on even more? Because, like you said, it's now triggered the talk of a quadruple.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, it certainly helps. I think the aim for Liverpool now should be a trophy every season. Obviously, the domestic cups aren't as important as the Premier League and the Champions League, so they're still the two that probably are ultimately going to define a season in terms of whether you win it or not. But obviously, if we don't win either of those and look back in May, it's going to be better having won the League Cup than not. So I think it's key in that respect. I think in a lot of ways the pressure is still on City. They were the bookies' favourites at the start of the season. They're the ones with all the money. You know, all the narratives surrounding them. They're the team that are expected to win it, and they obviously had a 12-point lead, albeit with having played a few games more, and we've narrowed that to 6. So I don't think there's that much pressure on us to win the league. If we did, obviously it would be a huge achievement. But I think ultimately it will be the season will be defined by whether or not we win either of those 2 big ones.
Well, let's speak about those 2 big goods. Prediction time a little bit for yourself, Henry. Let's start with the Premier League title. I mean, it looked like it was dead and buried a few weeks ago. Like you said, 12-point lead and stuff. You're taking it to 6. You've still got a game in hand over them. Do you think you'll go on and win it?
A lot of Liverpool fans are more optimistic than me. I'm famously just a bit of a pessimist, even with this great team we've got. But my gut feeling says no, if I'm honest. I think we've obviously got that deficit to catch up on City. We've got to go to the Etihad, which is obviously going to be incredibly tough and probably going to have to win there more than likely. So I think if we had them at Anfield, it would be a different story. I'd be feeling more confident, and we're certainly right in it. And a win tomorrow puts us within 3, and fingers crossed United can actually do us a favour for once on Sunday. So, you know, we've got a chance, but I would be saying sort of percentage-wise, probably 70-30 in City's favour, I think.
And what about the Champions League then? If you're going to miss out in the Premier League, do you think you'll get the other big one?
Why not? Yeah, why not? I don't fear anyone in that, including City. I think if anything, they fear us. We knocked them out in 2018, and we've got the Anfield factor, which I know we bang on about forever, but it is special on a European night, and it really can sort of almost give you an extra goal. So, you know, we should, barring a disaster, we should get through to the quarters now, and you know, get a comfortable-ish draw in the quarters. Suddenly you're in the semis, and there's no sort of reason to fear anyone. I think us and City are comfortably the 2 best in Europe at the moment. So, yeah, I think we could definitely sort of make it a 7th European Cup.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I agree with your prediction. I think City will beat you to league, but I think you'll go on and win the Champions League. You're looking at the big teams in European football, they're not really doing too much at the minute. You're just currently dispatching one of the Italians' best teams pretty comfortably as well, which gives you a bit of a barometer as to where Liverpool are in comparison to foreign clubs, if you like. I think I'd expect you to go and win Champions League. And in a weird way, I'm sort of rooting for you in the FA Cup as well. Yourselves, Chelsea and Man City, we could do with one of you winning it. So 7th then gets a European spot in the Premier League for West Ham. So pleased with the draw last night that kept the three of you apart. Normally, I'm like, oh, fix. Where's the Liverpool Chelsea game in the FA Cup? But because it's in our interest for one of you to go on and win it, I'm selfish. I want one of you three to go on and win the cup. Another season, I'd be rooting for Everton or Southampton or something, but not this one. It seems a bit weird asking a Liverpool fan if there's any players in form, but I'm going to ask it anyway for our viewers that perhaps don't watch Liverpool that often. Is there anyone that's sort of playing above themselves for that at the minute?
No, I mean, I think really it's a squad that's got back to its very best more than anything. I think, all the big names you can think of are more or less in and around their best form. I mean, I think probably everyone knows how great Salah's been. Obviously, he's going to win Player of the Year this season. And he's probably the best player in the world at the moment. But I think certainly Van Dijk's return he's back to his absolute best. And I think there were certainly people feared that the severity of that injury, and he's 30, might mean that we never quite saw him the same player again. He's as good as any centre-back I've seen. And right now, he's just at that absolute top level. And when he's that good, he's still the key man for me. And you look at Trent is on fire. Robertson's found his best form again. Fabinho is a huge player in front of the defence. Thiago was massive. He's unfortunately out tomorrow, which is a blow. He's been very influential. And then obviously Diaz has come in and hit the ground running. And you've got Jota, who's scoring relentlessly as well. So, I mean, you look throughout the team and there's quality and players in form everywhere you look, really.
Nothing for us to worry about then. But let's talk about my team now, West Ham. What do you make of West Ham? How do you think our season's going and stuff?
From the outside looking in again, it's very impressive. I think it was easy to almost be a bit kind of snobbish last season. So it's just a one-off. You get these seasons where a team presses for the Champions League or, when Leicester won the league or whatever. And I certainly didn't expect you to kind of be where you are. I thought you'd be sort of maybe 8th, 9th, something like that. But you've carried on from where you left off. You obviously beat us back in November, and I look at you as a team. No Liverpool fan wants to give David Moyes too much praise given his past and stuff, but I have a lot of respect for the job he's done, and he's built a team there which, when fit, you can just the names roll off the tongue, and you can pick that formation and the team, which I think is always a sign of a team in good rhythm. It probably looks like you've maybe dropped off a bit in the last month or so, whether a lack of signings or I saw Antonio the other week. I can't remember who he's playing now, but he was all over the place. He looked like he was running in cement. So I might be wrong, but he's maybe looked like someone that's dropped off. But Bowen is obviously a player we've been linked with, and I'm a big fan of him. And you look throughout the team, Declan Rice, I think, is every chance probably a future England captain, potentially future world-class player if he's not already. So I think you've probably not got enough now to get top 4. Arsenal are looking strong, but I'd be surprised now if you're sort of outside the top 6. And you're a difficult team to play against. You're physical, and it's a fixture I always look at now and have a little bit of fear about it.
There are 2 questions that are off the back of that. First of all, David Bowen, do you believe Liverpool's interest? And if you did perhaps believe it, do you still believe it now that you signed Luis Diaz?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Yeah, I mean, the Diaz addition has changed it a bit, because all of a sudden we got 5 sort of genuinely top-class options in attack. You have got Mane and Firmino are both out of contract next year, as is Salah. But I think I wouldn't 100% rule out, one of them suddenly going in the summer, potentially. I don't think it will happen, but that would then free up another kind of attacking spot in the team. You have also got the kind of option of Klopp could see Bowen as like one of his midfield 3, which is sort of where he's playing Harvey Elliott at the moment, or Jordan Henderson in that sort of right-sided area of the kind of midfield 3. He might see him as that sort of number 8. So I do think I think the interest has been genuine. Yeah, I do. Whether or not the move will happen, I'm not sure, but he fits the profile of a Klopp player. He's just someone I could see. He's got that kind of directness to his play. He's versatile. He works hard. So I could see him there, not necessarily, with all due respect to him, maybe not coming in as a guaranteed starter in the 11, but maybe someone to replace like an Oxlade-Chamberlain or someone who could leave this summer.
Random question now about European football. Obviously, we've got a game against Sevilla coming up on Thursday night. As a fan of Liverpool, you've obviously experienced your side competing in European football season in, season out, gone on and had immense success as well. When you look at the West Ham team, because there's a difference between Premier League and European football, isn't there? The way it's played and stuff. When you look at the West Ham team, do you think actually they could do a job in the Europa League against the big ones like Sevilla, or do you think we're maybe just a little bit, whether it be green, inexperienced, or just not quite good enough?
I think, if anything, I don't think it's necessarily style comes into it too much. I think, like you say, it's probably that experience. I think someone like Sevilla are just so savvy in that competition. I mean, they've won it God knows how many times in the last
six
decade.
times. I think they've won it 6 times, and I think they've won 27 of the last 28 knockout games in the Europa League. Obviously, it's because they finished third in Champions League, don't they? So then they only enter the knockout stages and stuff. So it's a bit misskewed, that stat, but serial winners.
Yeah, well, I think that's key. I think a bit like Real Madrid, I think winning 4 Champions Leagues in 5 years. I don't think potentially in any of those seasons they were the best team in Europe, but they just built up this winning mentality. So I think that's what makes them, obviously, arguably they're a better team than you as well, potentially, but that winning mentality, I think, will give them the edge, whereas you've got some young players in that team. You've got a lot of players who just haven't experienced those European nights. But I think your style could make it awkward for Sevilla. You're physical. Someone like Antonio has that ability to kind of run any defender ragged, and you've got that pace on the counter attack. So, I could see you going to Sevilla and, well, there's no away goals now, but nicking a positive result. And I don't know where the first leg is, but yeah, so I could see sort of taking a positive result back to London and, causing an upset.
Happy days. West Ham fans are going to be liking you at the minute, but I'm not sure they're going to like you after the next question. How do you see tomorrow going?
I'm sure most people will be tipping a Liverpool win. I think we will win, but I don't think it will be easy. I think it will be we've had a lot of these slightly kind of tense title race games along with City sort of in the last few years where people think we're going to kind of steamroller someone 3-0. I don't think it will be that. I can see a sort of 2-1. Antonio kind of famously does well against us, and I could see him doing the same tomorrow as good as well as Van Dijk's playing. So I think we'll win. I do think we'll win, but it wouldn't surprise me if you suddenly go ahead early on and Anfield sort of panics a little bit like the Norwich game a few weeks ago, and we have to turn it around in the second half, and maybe the subs make a difference. But I'm expecting a tough one, 2-1 or 3-1.
Are you expecting to see your first team out there? Obviously, you rested quite a few during the week in the FA Cup, but you've got the Champions League coming up as well. So, because from West Ham's point of view, we obviously put out our first team against Southampton on Wednesday, got Sevilla on Thursday. So this one's sort of a big game for us, sandwiched in the middle of 2 other big fixtures. So we're not really sure what Moyes is going to do, but do you expect Klopp to put out what I would call his cup final 11 and make sure he gets 3 points in this one?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because I mean, the old cliche of every game's a cup final now in the league, it really is, because we all know that City could win every remaining game because they're that good. So every league game now we have to win. So I think he made 10 changes in midweek. Henderson was the only one that started from the cup final. So I think you are going to see that kind of Alisson, Trent. Could go Konate instead of Matip because he's more physical up against Antonio. And then you're going to have Van Dijk, Robertson, certainly Fabinho and Henderson. Probably Naby Keita will start, I think, with Thiago out. And then you've got the options up front. And I think you'll probably see, we'll go back to Salah, Diaz and Mane, I think, even though Jota is fit again, he's probably not quite 100% yet. So, it's obviously best to have those options. But you're going to see, without a doubt, the kind of the strongest possible team.
Well, Henry, thank you very much for joining us. I massively appreciate it. If you want to hear or see more from Henry, I'll put a link to his Twitter in the description of this video. So you'll give him a follow and keep up to date with all his Liverpool work as well. But don't enjoy the game too much, will you? But good luck in the FA Cup and get 7th European space, please.
Cheers, mate. Good luck in the Europa League. Thanks for having me.